Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. It's playoff time. Unfortunately, it's injury time as well, Mike, as we just got news on two injuries that took place in the last 2 days and expected timelines for Devin Booker and Chris Middleton. And it sounds like we're not going to be seeing them for a while. How are you on this a little bit sad Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, not great. We had a kind of a rough day yesterday. Hate to see it, but yeah, we'll be good. Can't nail every slate, so we'll be better today. I feel there's some pretty good edge here. I feel like I got a really good grasp on the game plans for the coaches today.
Yeah, how are you feeling about the potential absences of Chris Middleton, and Devin Booker for the next few weeks?
Yeah, we just talked about it on the podcast. It'll be out later today. I'm not as worried about Booker for the first round, but Middleton's kind of a big deal. Just the lack of depth there is really going to hurt them.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks is the estimated timeline for Booker, and 3 to 4 weeks is the timeline I've seen reported on Middleton so far. Just for perspective, a playoff series in the NBA is generally around 2 weeks. Generally, especially in the early rounds, can tighten up to about a week and a half. So every 2 weeks, you can expect about one series worth of missed basketball for these guys. And then the other, the only big injury question mark on this slate for these set of games is Luka Doncic, who is questionable, but we think he's more likely doubtful. Mm-hmm. What are your expectations on when we find out if we're seeing Luka tonight?
He is going to be a game time decision, and got some video from Eric Walden of the Salt Lake Tribune. Luka doing some soccer stuff, but yeah, you'll notice he is not in a starter's jersey. You see Dwight Powell, Reggie Bullock, and Dorian Finney-Smith right here in the starter whites. Luka's in blue. Starters jerseys are undefeated, so maybe they pull a Steph, right, and bring him off the bench, maybe. But I would think it's unlikely. We saw the video yesterday. Wish I had it ready. That he was moving like side to side. He wasn't moving much.
Yeah.
They don't want to risk re-injury. He's like right at the minimum for time you want to miss for a calf strain. So I think he's gonna sit here. We will not find out before the first game. I feel pretty confident in that. It almost just feels like a smoke screen, just like trying to keep the Jazz on their heels. It's a very Jason Kidd thing to do. To kind of act like he's going to be in and move into questionable. I think he's got a shot for game 4, but I'd be pretty surprised if he plays today.
The other thing I note on this is the turnaround. Game 4 is just about 43 hours after game 1 ends, or game 3 ends, excuse me. So, or is expected to end, I should say. Who knows how many overtimes or whatever, but is expected to end. So that kind of turnaround, I just don't think makes a lot of sense for them to, kind of rush. And they don't need, if you're thinking about like the long haul in this series, you don't need to come out of Utah with 2 wins. You need to find one win in Utah. And they showed that they can beat Utah at home with this lineup. They kind of figured out some things. They exposed Utah in a way that Utah has been exposed before. Mm-hmm. So I just don't see the need to push given the quick turnaround. And then you've got another 2-day turnaround right after that. So like this schedule has not really been favorable. The first time they get 2 days off before another game is between game 5 and game 6. And I really think like maybe come back game 4, maybe game 5. That's kind of what I thought coming into the series was the timeline based on normal calf strain stuff. And then you get the extended rest, hopefully game 6, if the series goes that far. And you got like full powered Luka for game 6. That's kind of what I was thinking. But we'll see tonight. We're going to talk about this on the DFS show, but I think there's going to be a ton of edge in playing this slate as if Luka is not playing.
Yep.
And that's the way we're going to keep our projections because I feel like that's the right way to approach it. If we're wrong on it, we're wrong. Like we'll get burned. But I think even if Luka plays, I can't imagine it's a full workload. Yeah. Which you alluded to, maybe they bring him off the bench like they did, like the Golden State did with Steph. But yeah, and Andrew in chat notes, if it was 2-0-2, maybe. Yeah. And I agree. I think the level of desperation is key here. And that's why I said, when we were doing our preview pods on this, getting an early win is so huge for Dallas
Mm-hmm.
because it takes the pressure off rushing Luka. It also gives you likely the ability to, bring him back at a time when he's fully healthy. So we'll see on Luka tonight, but I'm not expecting him to play. And as a result, I would expect to see very similar rotations to what we saw in game 2, where Dallas kind of figured out the lineup that works for them. We'll see if Utah can counter it tonight.
Yeah, they're going to have to send more help on shooters. The wide open discrepancy has been crazy. 2 games, wide open threes, 46-21 edge for the Mavs against a team that led the NBA in 3-point rate. So just massive props to Jason Kidd and Sweeney for drawing up a really good game plan. And we'll see if the Jazz can adjust. They definitely have to. I also want to note, too, their pick and roll game. The Jazz have been awesome in pick and roll. They're at 0.56 points per possession in pick and roll. That is 0.2 below the last place Magic. They have no pick and roll game as Dallas is just taking that away. They are just beating them with their own game and taking away everything that the Jazz are known for. So they've got to, I mentioned this last time, they've got to diversify their offense a little bit. They run that pick and roll, kick out stuff all day, every day, and it works most of the time, but it's not. So I expect something to change. With this rotation, or not so much rotation, but just Jazz game plan. They've got to do something.
Matt Preston notes Mavs win, Luka rests more, Utah wins. We see Luka tomorrow. That is kind of my thought process. And tomorrow being Saturday, that's kind of my thought process as well here. But we'll see if he's truly really healthy. Like that. That's about the time where average returns kind of come in for calf strains is about that time of game 4. So I just the last report we got on him was light jogging and not contact work or anything. So we'll see. And then the only other injury question mark on the slate is Andre Iguodala is probable. He had a neck injury that they were reporting during the game. He was a late add to the injury report for game 2, but they were reporting during the game, the broadcast was that he could barely move his neck. Supposedly he practiced yesterday and looked good. So I would assume Iguodala is back in the rotation. I don't think it impacts a ton for Golden State. Certainly gives them another facilitator and playmaker to let, Poole and Steph continue to create all the offense around them that they possibly could have. It lowers the minutes ceiling for Otto Porter Jr., for Gary Payton, for Nemanja Bjelica, those types of guys. But I'm expecting Iguodala to be in the rotation and play his, 10 to 15 minutes type thing. Mm-hmm. Are you expecting the same tonight?
Yeah, he's a really important piece for their defense, especially when they want to switch and throw extra bodies and cutting out the passing lanes. It's been such an edge. The Warriors just killing him in the points off cut stuff. Just neutering Jokic's best aspects of just backing dudes down and then finding open shooters. They just out game plan the hell out of him. Also, just finding out now that Stephen Curry's minutes will be elevated, came out of the first 2 games as well, which brings up the next question is, does he start?
Yep.
And I kind of think he does. I think that now you're on the road, I think it makes sense. And I think it's Poole coming off the bench. But I
think it's Looney off the bench.
Yeah, I think they like Looney right out of the gate, though.
I think they do, but I also think they smell blood in the water, And I think come out, put the lineup that has given Denver all sorts of trouble. Mm-hmm. Started from the get-go. You can quick sub, right? You can quick sub Steph or Poole to get them back in with the second unit. But Dre has just done such a great job on Jokic, and Looney has not. Looney has been torched by Jokic.
Yeah.
Jokic is shooting 35% against Dre and 65% against Looney so far early in the series. So we'll see if they do make any starting lineup changes there. But that lineup has destroyed.
Yeah, the PTSD lineup, as it's being called. 11 minutes, super tiny sample, but my God, plus 129.3 net rating, 204.3 on offense in 11 minutes. It's just been automatic death for
I think that game, as often is the case in the NBA, officiating can set tones in games, and I think that game, the officiating early on will set a tone with how much Draymond is allowed to be physical with Jokic, which is driving Jokic insane. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he got ejected last game, totally lost it after he didn't get what he felt was a foul call. And the thing that I think is frustrating Jokic even more than him not getting foul calls is he's getting called for stuff that he feels like Draymond and Looney and these guys are doing to him, which is like forearm on the back of post-ups, which you're allowed one arm, not two. And so like we'll see. we'll see if Dre gets called for anything quick, but I think that's really like if Dre's going to be able to be this physical with Jokic and they're going to clog the paint and just not guard Aaron Gordon, like it's going to be a tough path for Jokic to be efficient in this series. It's ugly. And we did have some quotes from Mike Malone. I don't want to talk too much on rotation speculation just because that is stuff we would want to keep behind the paywall for sure. But Mike Malone mentioned like we might need to play new guys to get more physical. I guess that's Campazzo.
I don't think Zeke Naji was the guy that struck me because he's a guy that he's a big, but he's really good in space. He's like a power forward version of Claxton.
Yeah.
So he'd be a guy I think that Malone would like. He's talked about that before, how he likes to switch him on guards and use his length in that way. So that's who I thought.
But taking Cousins minutes, is that who you think? Like, I mean that will give them a shot stopping defensively a little bit. But good Lord, how are they going to create offense? Like
they're not. I mean, they're dead. It's unfortunate, but I don't think there's nothing really Malone could do.
Yeah,
just basically pray that the Warriors miss shots is all they can really.
Yeah, and the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors are tilting. I mean, Malone is literally giving quotes out there that Draymond's playing free safety, and the margin for error is 0. Like it's bad, man. I didn't think we'd get here with the Nuggets in terms of this type of vibe feel because I thought it was kind of like assumed, right, that you don't have Jamal Murray and you don't have Michael Porter Jr. This is kind of a lost season. But I think, the combination of the sweep last year and potentially getting swept this year, I think is just things are really bubbling in Denver. It'll be really interesting to see. Obviously, we saw the skirmish on the bench with Boogie and Will Barton last game. But this is a team that's very, very rattled. And Draymond Green can get you very, very rattled. Draymond Green can also get rattled himself if there's like early foul calls against him. So I think the officiating early in this game will be a big indicator of whether Denver can keep this close or not. And the way that they can keep this close is Draymond in foul trouble. Any other combination, they will not be able to score enough offensively.
And they're deep, and their offense has been ridiculous. 20 points per game off cuts. Their half-court offense has been ridiculous. They're making their threes. They're 1.32 points per possession in pick and roll. That's 0.3 higher than the league's high. Obviously, it's a small sample, like 25. But they're hitting every aspect of how you dominate a team right now.
Yeah, and Dre is a very underrated piece of that offense.
Yep.
In terms of he is basically the lever that is, he's the puppet master as Curry and Poole and Clay are coming around screens and cutting. He reads the game so well. He knows who's going to be open, and he gets them good, clean, open looks, and they bury them because they're 3 of the best shooters in the league, 2 of the best shooters of all time. So it'll be very, very, very interesting to see if Draymond can maintain his composure and stay out there. If he does, man, the Warriors' ceiling is outrageous, and stay healthy. That's the other thing that we haven't seen from Dre during the course of the year. And it's early in the playoffs, but we're already seeing how much health can play a role, right? Like Toronto got totally torpedoed. The Bucks are looking like they're shaky with Middleton and losing Portis for parts of last game. Booker totally torpedoed Phoenix last game. Like health really, really matters a lot. So Golden State's looking really, really good as long as they're healthy.
Yep. And one thing to add too, Draymond's minutes have been down too. His even like non-garbage, like his first minutes are not quite full playoff rotation. So I'm curious to see if he's in that same bucket as Curry is, maybe getting more minutes here.
I think they kind of know, I think they're in a position where they feel like they have the checkmate whenever they want to go to this lineup. So I think they're just kind of coaxing the minutes along and then, basically get treating this almost as practice time. This sounds so disrespectful to Denver, but I mean, this is basically what it is. Like this Denver team. And by the way, like,
here we go.
Like the whole point of Jokic's MVP campaign was the fact that he got this team that you're looking at close in the standings to other teams that have really great MVP candidate players as well. But those teams have good second and third players, and Jokic has this. That was like the whole point of the campaign. So when like the whole defense collapses on Jokic and the whole thing falls apart because there's nobody else that can make an open shot or command any defensive attention, that was the whole point. That was the whole point of the thing.
Totally agree.
If you had Tyrese Maxey to go for 28, or Drew Holiday or Middleton to go for a bunch, or Jalen Brunson to go for 40, like who's going for 40 for the Nuggets? They're looking for someone to get 20. It'd be great if someone could get 20 for them. It's just,
I mean, we just had Sean say like they need Bones Highland. Like that's how desperate they are.
That's where we're at.
We're hoping Bones Highland goes off and saves the game.
Their late 20s round rookie draft pick backup guard is the guy that they need to generate.
It wasn't even the rotation earlier in the year.
Yeah. It's just so bad. And it's unfortunate. I think everything's exacerbated by Golden State, because Golden State is such a dreadful matchup for Denver. But yeah, if Dre's not in foul trouble early, this is sweep city. So yeah.
What we got? We got plus 900, right?
Plus 800.
Plus 800. Okay, yes.
That's what I got at least.
That's what I got too. Yeah. I feel really good, and I got them minus 1.5 spread too. So
yeah, I got that too. I need to hit that after this Milwaukee disaster.
I didn't go big on that. I'm lucky. But
I felt so good about finding opening lines at 375 on sweeps, and
I went heavy on Golden State, Miami. Those are like my two biggest things, and obviously the Wolves. Those are the three I need the most.
Yeah. So here to take my L's though. Philadelphia is going to hammer Toronto. The Bulls are playing way better than I would have anticipated, and that's a legit series now, especially with Middleton hurt. So definitely here to take the L's on that.
Yeah, Winky's not here to rub it in our face.
No, he'll be at the DFS show, I'm sure.
He'll definitely be on the DFS show for sure.
Yeah. But speaking of the DFS show, we will be back 5:30 Eastern, myself and Mike Gallagher. Those of you interested in seeing me in a tux or a kilt, that will not be available on any of the premium content behind the paywall or in front of the paywall.
ETR Plus streaming services coming soon.
That's on my OnlyFans account.
Nice.
All right. We love coming here. We love talking injuries. Well, I shouldn't say we love talking injuries. We love talking about basketball. I wish there were fewer injuries to talk about. It is what it is. Join us for the DFS show behind the paywall at 5:30 Eastern today. We have weekly packages if you want to join us during the course of the playoffs. We have those for props as well. Props we continue to fire off. After we get off here, we're going to look at stuff for today and tomorrow as well. But we continue to fire off pretty good volume. Continue to run into ejections and injuries on overs. It's been pretty terrifying. But we'll keep hammering away best we can.
A lot of edge today, man. A lot of rotation changes coming here. So I'm pretty excited.
So we'll be on it. I think tonight's a good night to play DFS because of this Luka thing. And also because of some of the rotation changes. Mike and I will break it all down for you at 5:30 Eastern behind the paywall. Until then, subscribe to the channel here, get notifications whenever we go live. Continue to hit, press, or smash that like button so you can circulate the content, and we can keep giving you this free content each and every Monday through Friday. We will be back tomorrow. Well, I won't be back. I will be traveling tomorrow, but Gary and Mike will be back tomorrow.
Or fan.
Yeah, we'll figure out. It
but
will not be.
We'll be talking a lot of Booker.
It will not be only fans. It will be Mike Gallagher along with either Justin Fan or Gary Hartman. But yeah,
Gallagher fans.
Enjoy the slate tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tonight behind the paywall for those of you subscribed. Take care, everybody.